Welcome back to the David Pakman Show.
I'm always hesitant to get all over the different alarmist stories, Lewis, some that I think are designed to scare people into action, sometimes legitimately and sometimes illegitimately. But I've been reading about problems with bee colonies and colonies collapsing around the world for some time now, and really putting the global food supply at possible risk. And I just was doing some research on it. Have you looked into this at all?
Yeah, and this has been going on for several years.
We've been hearing about it for some time, and here's some quotes. 100 crop species provide 90% of the world's food. Let me back up. The fact is that of the 100 crop species that provide 90% of the world's food, over 70% are pollinated by bees. Human beings have fabricated the illusion that in the 21st century they have the technological prowess to be independent of nature. It's not the case. Maybe the Mormon food storage thing is actually a good idea now that I'm reading about this. Maybe I should have a year of canned Mormon food in my basement.
Couldn't hurt.
I keep wondering just why big agribusiness is so indifferent to this, because it's not as if they can artificially pollinate all the crops around the world, right? I've researched and I haven't seen any evidence that that technology exists.
Yeah, not that I know of.
And declines in managed bee colonies, which are seen increasingly in Europe and the U.S. in the past decade, are being observed in China, Japan. There's the first signs of African collapses from Egypt, according to a report from the United Nations Environment Program. And this, from everything I'm reading, this is something that is not getting the coverage it deserves. And it really could be a big deal, Lewis.
Definitely.
Without big changes to the way human beings manage the planet, according to this UNEP study, declines in pollinators needed to feed a growing global population are likely to continue.
But how do you reverse something like this?
I don't know. The scientists warned that a number of factors may now be coming together to hit bee colonies around the world. They call for farmers and landowners to be offered incentives to restore pollinator-friendly habitats, including key flowering plants near crop-producing fields, and stress that more care needs to be taken in the choice, timing, and application of insecticides and other chemicals. I guess that's what needs to be done.
Yeah, but at the same time, that we don't know if that will work.
No.
It's like you have to choose between doing that or really investing in trying to find a way to pollinate manually.
While managed hives can be moved out of harm's way, wild populations of pollinators are completely vulnerable. You know what? This is obviously what you get when you mix Middle Eastern bees with European bees. They become radicalized. It's a new type of bee. We don't know how to deal with it. We need hearings. We need Peter King, actually, to hold hearings on the radicalization of Middle Eastern bees into Europe, who are now refusing to pollinate our crops.
It's a giant conspiracy.
I've heard they're in Libya currently. That's their top place right now. They're increasingly spreading west. This is probably a good reason to spend more money on weapons, right?
I think so.
Anything's a good reason for that.
Nukes could definitely help with the bee problem.
Here's something else, and this is probably, you knew that this shoe had to drop at some point. There has been a leaked document which was leaked to a Colorado beekeeper, and it shows that the EPA has actually ignored warnings about the use of clothianidin. It's a pesticide produced by Bayer that's mainly used to pre-treat corn seeds. And we know all about the corn lobby. We know all about that, Lewis. And the pesticide scooped about $260 million in sales in 2009. And some farmers use the substance on canola, sugar, soy, sunflowers, so on and so forth. The document was leaked, okay? And it was put out in response to Bayer's request to approve use of the pesticide on cotton and mustard. And the document invalidates a prior Bayer study that justified the registration of I can't even say this thing.
Of whatever the stuff is.
Clothianidin. On the basis of what? Its safety to honeybees. So when we're saying, oh, why is this happening? Maybe it's a natural shift in the world atmosphere. We're not looking at clothianidin. Some people are. Okay? And the major risk concern with clothianidin is non-target insects, bees, okay? And acute toxicity studies to honeybees show that this is highly toxic on contact. It's highly toxic if ingested. And this memo, Lewis, is damning.
So what are we saying here? That the EPA is is incompetent, is corrupt?
I mean, the opinion of EPA scientists apparently isn't enough for the agency. EPA scientists wrote the paper, but the agency opted to keep this legal. And the suspicions about this aren't new. Okay, the EPA's Environmental Fate and Effects Division expressed concern about this in 2003 when clothianidin was first introduced. So what are we seeing here? My instinct is always it's corruption. You've got a paper that says why this should not be used. You have an indicator that that has been ignored. You have an indicator that this is making a lot of money. What? Tell me it's not corruption, Lewis. Tell me I'm too cynical and that there must be some perfectly reasonable explanation for why clothianidin, which has already been banned in Germany, has already been banned in France, Italy, Slovenia for its toxic effects. EPA won't ban it, though.
Like with so many of the things we talk about, corruption cases, money seems to be the root of all of them.
This could also have to do with the American affinity for corn products, which, as we know, with the corn lobby, vastly bought and sold industry altogether.
Right. I mean, if it were not for this pesticide, chemical, whatever it is, how much would that slow corn production, which seems to be so vital to everything we consume and everything our animals consume? I don't know.
Very well put, Lewis.